One of the best joins us right now from Quantum Economics, the CEO and founder, Mati Greenspan. The newsletter is always free, quantumeconomics.io. Mati Greenspan is requested, and we have approved him. He is verified to co-host this show. We'll get Gerald Vata in here as well. Let it warm up a little bit. We're only like 2 minutes in, so let's give this thing like about at least till 35 after. Send the invites out. Get more folks in here. Yeah, Mati Greenspan, we got you as a co-host. All you got to do is accept the invite. Yeah. Hi, John. How are you? Oh, Mati Greenspan's with us now. All right. Let's tweet it out. We'll give it till about, we'll give it 2 more minutes. And then we'll get into some headlines, and then we'll hear from Mr. Mati Greenspan and take your questions, comments, and just talk about the market. We'll talk about Bitcoin. We'll talk about the English Premier League. What the hell is going on over there? Do you have a favorite EPL team? And if so, who is it? We want to know your favorite EPL team. So when you come up to the mic, introduce yourself, say hi, where you're from, and then tell us your favorite English Premier League team. And then we'll get to know you a little bit better. About 2 minutes away. Tweet it out. We are live in the spaces, powered by Quantum Economics and Luno Global. Mati Greenspan, the CEO, is here. Gerald Vata should be joining us. Sultan, our data scientist, might be here as well. And we want to hear your questions. What's on your mind today, this Monday, the 18th, in Twitter Spaces? We got some more folks in here. We got folks requesting. Here we go. Okay, thank you, John. Yep, we'll get you up here too, John. We'll get going here in just a sec, and we'll run some headlines. About 1 more minute. The big news today. Lots of news today, actually. I hope you're relaxed. I hope you got a beverage of whatever you're choosing, whatever your flavor. And we will go down the rabbit hole known as crypto Twitter. Markets, analysis, insight, never financial advice, but always some really good life suggestions. All right. We got a few more folks in here. Oh, Gerald Vata is here. Let's get Gerald up. Let's get Gerald here to be a co-host. Thank you, Mr. Vata, one of the best. Man, if you are not following Gerald Vata and listen to him on Telegram and his podcast, he is good, and you're missing out. So that's all I've got to say. Follow my man, Gerald Vata, over there. All right, are we ready to get into it? Should we do some headlines? Okay, here we go. Let's do some headlines for Monday, October 18th, 2021. The New York Attorney General directing 2 crypto firms to shut down while investigating 3 others. In a Monday announcement, the New York Attorney General's office, what's her name? Lalita James, ordering 2 crypto lending platforms to cease and desist. One of them being Celsius and the other Nexio. Now Nexio says, sorry, you've got the wrong people. That ain't us. The Attorney General's message sent to the 5 crypto lending firms comes following the big agreement between Bitfinex and Tether to pay, what was that, $18.5 million in damages. Under current New York state law, I guess, all crypto brokers, dealers, salespersons, and investment advisors must register with the New York Attorney General's Investor Protection Bureau. Bitcoin ETFs. We were expecting them, and tomorrow the first one goes live. ProShares with their futures ETF. That's all well and good, but you know as well as I do, we want a spot Bitcoin ETF. Don't give us this derivatives garbage. The lovely and talented crypto fanboy from Grayscale and Digital Currency Group, Michael Sonnenschein, on the Squawk Box earlier today. When asked about his initial thoughts about an ETF, here's what Mike said.
This stands to be a very, very important week for Bitcoin and the entire digital asset ecosystem. Investors have been waiting for an ETF to debut in the US market And that is what has certainly propelled us back to near all-time highs.
And Michael knows as well as anybody, we want a spot Bitcoin ETF. When asked about his thoughts on that, here's what he had to say.
Certainly, if the SEC has cleared the way for a Bitcoin futures ETF, we certainly believe that because the futures and the spot prices are, of course, interrelated, and pricing has always been one of their biggest hangups, that it does now clear the way for the SEC to approve a physically backed Bitcoin ETF and give further validation to the industry. And so I know from my team's point of view, working on this for years, we stand at the ready to file for GBTC to become an ETF and bring yet another option for investors.
Now, to be fair, and let's put it in context, let's hear from Simeon Hyman, who was on with Bob Pisani. That guy sounds like his last name is a sandwich. Can I get a Pisani on rye? He was on with Bob Pisani on the ETF Edge there on the CNBC. When asked about the futures ETF and why people are kind of upset and really would prefer a spot, here's what he had to say.
You know, we think this logic may be almost a little bit turned on its head. There's a lot of evidence from experts that the futures market, if anything, is kind of a better place for price discovery. The CME futures market, and it's a regulated place, actually trades more volume than the largest U.S. crypto exchange. And, you know, just to put some of this in context, you know, we launched a similar mutual fund back on 7/28. And since we launched through Friday, Bitcoin, the BRR, the Bitcoin reference rate that amalgamates a few different exchanges, that's up 51% through Friday. The mutual fund's up 52. And guess what? The Grayscale Trust is only up 37. So there's a lot of history here. We think it'll track quite well. And most importantly, we think that the combination of a regulated futures market and a 40 Act ETF will really open up the opportunity to conveniently get Bitcoin exposure to a lot of folks who may have been waiting on the sidelines.
Bitcoin's RSI strength suggests the BTC price is still far from its cycle top. The index might say extreme greed, but math-based metrics continue to leave the door open for future Bitcoin price gains. I'm talking some healthy gains here, friends. And finally, billionaire investor Carl Icahn talking to the judge there on CNBC. Are we going to crap the bed on this market or what, Carl? Here's what he had to say.
In the long run, we are certainly going to hit the wall. And I get people may say to me, well, anybody can say that. No, but I really think there will be a crisis, the way we're going. The way we're printing up money, the way we're going into inflation. I mean, if you look around you, you see this inflation all around you, and I don't know how you deal with that in the long term.
Oh, I do, Carl. Why don't you take a listen to my good friend Michael Saylor? Break it down for him, Mike.
The settlement network is the granite upon which you build the 21st century economy. The application layer is PayPal and Google and Apple Pay and Amazon Pay and Fidelity and your life insurance policy and the ETF and maybe it's like the city of New York borrows $10 billion, buys Bitcoin, and eliminates taxes forever to the benefit of everybody in New York. That's a derivative.
Yep.
Right? That's right. They could do that.
Yep.
Turkey could go and they could buy $5 billion of Bitcoin in their central bank treasury, and then that would be worth $50 billion over the next 5 years.
Or more.
And they could strengthen their currency, and 50 million people in Turkey would, in essence, have a Turkish lira, which is a derivative of Bitcoin.
Lira, Michael. Thank
so
you.
you're thinking about how does the world scale, right? How do you scale this thing? Most people, they get it wrong. They think, well, it's got to scale on the base layer.
Nope.
They're just tragically uninformed. We don't need to scale on the base layer. You want to fix your country?
Yeah.
Like Nigeria or Zimbabwe?
Or America?
The way you fix your country is you buy $2 billion, $3 billion worth of Bitcoin, and you issue currency backed by the Bitcoin. That is the Bitcoin standard.
Yep.
And every one of your citizens stops starving to death, and they live a decent life. So I think that you're going to see that everywhere, right? And it's a race. Will it? Who's the kingmaker? Bitcoin's the kingmaker.
Yeah. There you go. Headlines today.
Erdogan likes the lira weak. He likes the inflation, and it's not been harming. People are flocking to Turkey to invest, even though they have a weakening, deteriorating lira. They don't really care. They're getting like 17% interest and building buildings, leveraging that money. Bitcoin fixes nothing for them. Maybe for the people, yeah, but not for the government.
Monty Greenspan coming in hot. How are you, friend?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So you
Oh, yeah.
got some issues with the Kingmaker?
Hey, look, Michael Saylor is the king himself. I told him that to his face. I mean, if Bitcoin is digital gold, then that man is sitting on a whole mountain of it. So I mean, he is the king himself. Is he the kingmaker? I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Chris, welcome. Gerald Vata, hello, friends in the room. And if you'd like to request,
to unmute.
that's okay. If you'd like to request, please do. It's open invitation, and we're just sharing ideas. Not financial advice, just talking about Bitcoin in the markets with Marty Greenspan, Gerald Vata from Quantum Economics as well. So I'll just open it up to Gerald and Marty, and you guys just go at it. What's on your radar today, guys?
I'm excited. I'm excited that the ETF is here, and it gives Bitcoin legitimacy in the eyes of the world. I'm looking at Brazil. I'm looking at Russia, and if either of those two countries legalizes crypto payments, oh, you think 100K? I think that's the low end. I'm just saying.
Tell us about that, because I saw your tweet, and man, you do a masterful job. I would, again, encourage everybody to follow Gerald Vata, Quantum Economics, because in your podcast yesterday, you kind of made some mention about this, or was it the tweet? I got him confused, but unpack what this really means for us.
Well, you have like two mega economies that would be getting involved in the crypto space as a legal form of payment. And I mean, you're talking about a country with Brazil, 220 million, and Russia's right up there too. So it would change the adoption metrics like exponentially, instantly. And to me, that's just exciting.
Just because I got to ask about the sauces on the Russia's accepting the Bitcoins. Where did you see that? Is just Putin's comments from last week,
you
or
have to realize Vladimir Putin has been following the crypto space very closely since 2017, and it's been their policy that the oligarchs and some of the interbanks have been utilizing some crypto, but you have to be like their type of accredited investor, and I don't know what those requirements are, but it's not been allowed for the masses to use. And for Putin to change his stance to say he likes crypto as payments now, you can see he's seeing the light on the ability to utilize Bitcoin to get around economic sanctions.
That was actually one of the first cases. I mean, Russia was one of the first ones to use Bitcoin as a decentralized network in 2013 as a store of value and escape of international sanctions. If you'll remember, when the Cyprus bail-ins happened, and that actually increased the price of Bitcoin when they locked all of the money in Cyprus, and the price of Bitcoin didn't go up because people were necessarily speculating on Bitcoin back then. As far as, oh, wow, this is the freedom of money. There was none of that back then. So it was very apparent that some Russian oligarchs who had their money trapped in Cyprus were able to get it out through Bitcoin and into Bitcoin. And, now we see it being used all over the world in places like Venezuela and Zimbabwe and even Turkey. So it's pretty awesome.
I mean, it's a bit ironic because I've heard rumors that Ukraine is going to perhaps make it legal tender in like 2022, 2023. So it's a bit ironic that both Russia and Ukraine, and it's also highly popular in Ukraine. And Ukraine is also a very underestimated technological country, actually. People I know who works in the tech business, they usually use Ukrainians as coders because they're just so cheap and so good.
Yeah, I think everybody has this misconception of like Ukrainian as like the movie Hostel. Don't go there; you're gonna die, and they end up killing people. And
which is not technologically advanced. They are highly technologically advanced.
It's not anything like the movie Hostel at all.
But Bruce Willis movie or what? No, not hostage. No, that's hostage. Sorry. Oh yeah, it's that movie. It's that
where they go like
fictional snuff film. Yeah, fictional snuff film.
Yeah. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. I've seen it back in the days. Horrible movie.
Yeah, don't watch it.
But also, I mean, Germany have had ETFs, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin ETFs for quite a while now, and one Danish bank is selling those ETFs. So we have been here before in Europe. But welcome to the ETF game, I guess, across the sea.
Thank you. We're very happy.
Yeah, me too. Price goes up. I'm also very happy.
Yeah.
Anything to add, or should I just...
No, I thought you keep going.
I hate it when the price goes up too quickly. Honestly, if it goes up too quickly, you miss out because you want to buy more at the lower prices.
Getting FOMO stressed. But I mean, I heard the rumors that Robinhood was maybe adding sheep, and then they came out and said, no, we're not. And I was sort of like, okay, screw it. I'm going to add a meme coin to my portfolio now. That's going to be sheep. Just one meme coin. So I got myself some sheep today.
Is that a good move, Gerald? Do you think? I mean, Gerald, you dabble in the sheep.
I mean, if you're buying it on the dip, that's what I tell people. If you're buying it when it's on a huge green candle, don't do that, right? I mean, I'm sure Chris knows that by now.
Yeah, I mean, it's for the long term, and it's just to have some fun with one meme coin, and it's still cheap. Again, it's I think cheap. Cheap. So I mean, long term, I think it's going to X maybe more than Bitcoin in the long run. And I think Elon Musk also gonna help with. I think Elon Musk gonna help with that. Or maybe Robinhood is gonna add it eventually, and then who knows?
Yeah, I think honestly the Robinhood news I think is total malarkey because basically they don't even know how wallets work yet. I know they're working on that behind the scenes, and they said they're beta testing that and blah blah blah. But we've been hearing that for some time. And for them to not even be that far, I don't think they're adding BTC chain like right then behind it. I'm just saying.
I think they'll be there at some point. I mean, and it's just about stacking enough until bubble bursts with Robinhood, not the fucking charts, but with Robinhood doing their whole wallets thing. It's my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
qualified guess, I think.
Vlad's losing out every day they don't have wallets. Again, I don't know how many times I've said this where I've had USDC and I've wanted to buy this one Bitcoin mining stock, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I can't transfer the funds there, and oh well.
No, I mean I can't even use Robinhood in Denmark. The European Union. Robinhood has not gotten any regulatory qualifications yet.
Oh, wow.
So that's bullish also, because they are going to come at some point to inside the European Union. So there's also a lot of room for expansion there.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they haven't gotten clearance yet in the EU. And when that
I don't know. You can download the app or get access to any of the services here.
Hey, Marty Greenspan. I got a question for Marty Greenspan. This whole deal with Backed coming back, what's up with Backed? I mean, it sounds like Backstreet's back. All right.
Backed got backed by a SPAC.
Oh, I like that. Backed by a SPAC.
The market was not about to buy Backed. Honestly, it was just the SPAC. The SPAC was like, oh, okay, we've got a ton of money here. Who can we buy? Oh, wow, these OG.
Wow.
And they bought a bunch of their stock and made the people who are involved even richer than they already are.
That would be the former senator that we know? Former senator.
I don't know how many shares she still has. She's not been the CEO since she became the senator, and then gotten hot water for insider trading and shit.
Well, yeah.
She was actually the first. If you remember, she was the first sacrifice of this round of, the elites are insider trading, and then we're like, oh, it's Nancy Pelosi too, and oh, look at that,
Jerome
Chairman
Powell.
Jerome Powell is insider trading. Oh, what a surprise! He probably thinks it's just his bonus.
It's just his bonus. Oh, I need a drink for that one. Give me a drink. It's just his bonus. What do you mean? I haven't got any of that fancy vodka. I just got the regular Heritage Distilling because vodka and Bitcoin go together. All right. Hey, well, we didn't ask, folks, your favorite EPL team. We were talking about English Premier League. My favorite, I like the underdog. I like the Spurs. I like Spurs. It's just me, though. But what about you, Chris? Your favorite EPL team?
Oh, I've been a huge Manchester United fan since I was like 5 years old. So, I watch all, the games all the United games in a season, and plus all the Premier League matches I can, that I have the time and the patience to watch these days. But I've been a huge, European football, I should say, soccer nerd my entire life. So, and watching all the commercial value from a lot of crypto and fintech companies come into to the game now. It's beautiful.
We were watching the Seahawks last night on the American TV, doing the American football.
And, I'm a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan as well, right?
Okay, thanks. You don't need to show off right now. All right, I didn't want to bring that up, but I still love you anyways. But did you see the ad in like the first quarter? It was for Sam FTX with Tom Brady, and it was this whole like. Have you seen the ad?
Dude, we only have Danish ads in between doing breaks.
Gerald saw it. You saw it.
But it was the Tom Brady one, the one Tom Brady posted or what on his Twitter?
Oh, I don't know if it was the one he posted on his Twitter, Gerald. Do you know? Was it the one he posted on his Twitter?
I think it's a new one. That was the original one where he's calling.
He posted it. He posted a new one yesterday.
A new one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
where
that
he,
might be it. If it's the new one, then that's it. It's a shorter one, and he's like, "I'm trading crypto. I'm not getting traded."
Yeah, everybody thinks he's getting traded, but yeah.
I watched that. He posted it on Twitter yesterday.
Okay, yeah. So like, I'm sitting. I didn't see that because I got off Twitter yesterday because my wife's like, it's the evening. I got to put it down. And my Seahawks are on, so that's cool. And like within the first quarter, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what did I just see flash across mainstream TV that all of America just got doxxed with? A big old FTX ad with Tom Brady trading crypto, and I felt like at that point, kind of going, wow, maybe we might make it, guys. We might just make it.
Oh, I didn't get to say this in the last one, but I think I was talking about it. I almost got to the point, but I was talking about Pluto, and Viacom owns them. And when I'm watching their movies, throughout the day, I see like 2 or 3 crypto commercials now a day. It's insane. I'm in my car. I'm like on the radio. I heard a BlockFi commercial on the radio. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So, yeah, y'all, we are about to see something you've never seen before. It's going to be interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when the news came out today that the Attorney General of New York sort of dabbled in to Celsius and then, what was it?
Nexio.
Yeah, exactly. And it was sort of like redacted papers that came out, and we can go after fintech companies, but we can't even figure out PDF files.
I know the way they leaked that. The photo of that was so bad, dude.
Yeah.
That was like the biggest cringe of the day. I loved it.
How are you going to go after fintech companies when you can't even sort of like use basic PDF files? It's like, come on,
dude. They are so wrecked, and we are so far ahead of them. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound elitist, but
I mean,
the shoe fits.
Yeah, but it was sort of like I read the comments, and because a lot of people were sort of like, oh, they went after BlockFi. I was sort of like, no, BlockFi don't operate in the state of New York, so they can't go after BlockFi. So, but I mean, now they're going after sort of two of the biggest crypto lending firms, and it's sort of like what you're gonna do? Like,
they're wasting.
Gonna kick them.
In my opinion, they're wasting money because Celsius already has reincorporated in Wilmington, which is like the capital of banks. And again, Mashinsky's 2 steps ahead of them, and they're the Attorney General of New Jersey and New York, in my opinion, has just wasted millions of taxpayer dollars. That's just my personal.
Wilmington,
Correct.
That's in Kentucky, right?
Delaware. Delaware has the most incorporations. If you look like at the most, they all these companies incorporate in Delaware because the tax loopholes are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's because
a lot of banks because of those laws.
Yeah.
I mean, I was an exchange student back in my high school days in Dayton, Ohio, and also went around in Kentucky area. I fucking remember that was some sort of Wilmington in the Kentucky area as well. Fuck it, it's irrelevant. Nothing to do with anything. But yeah, it's sort of like, these cases where AGs also like in Texas and Jersey and whatever went after sort of like BlockFi, and they can't, they have made several extensions upon their filings, and it's sort of like, you have shit, you don't have anything. Like, just leave people the fuck alone and let them earn some money.
Again, how are you going to tell people you're literally borrowing your own money? How are you going to tell people they can't borrow their own money? Like, that's.
I think it's something to do. I mean, I come from a lawyer family in Denmark, but it would be something about insurance. Obviously, like if they're not insured and there's no clear definitions upon what's a bank account and what's an interest account and blah, blah, blah. It's sort of like a very, very large gray area. And it's sort of like, but we were allowed to use our product. So why the heck did you allowed us to use our product in the first place, and blah, blah, blah.
And that's financial advice, blah, blah, blah. It's the best
advice.
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, these cases are just silly, and I think they're going to be, they're just going to be, like, now BlockFi has in, like, New Jersey until, like, December to clarify certain things, and then it was September, October, suddenly December, and sort of like, just stop it, please.
They just want money. That's all they want. They want to get all these fines. Let's be clear. Like, they just hit up Tether, and they smacked Tether on the hand.
Exactly correct.
Tether's like, $40 million? Run, pay it and run. Pay it and run. And I noticed this pattern with Block One, right? When Block One didn't get in trouble, I was like, whoa, what the heck's going on? And then BitConnect finally got in trouble, and I was like, okay, they've got something right there. But then when they slap Tether on the hand like that, I think we're just going to see a pattern of the government just coming in and shaking all these companies down.
So what does that mean then for the Ripple settlement? Are we going to get this thing settled then finally? Is that what happens with Ripple?
I mean, Tether just gets a smack on the wrist. Ripple should get a fine, and they say, sorry. Like, come on, like, seriously.
Well,
but they like to play with their muscles, and it's one big hustle, basically. Like, okay, you're in a lot of billions of dollars, we can make some vague case and then maybe extract, I don't know, $20 million and in fines, and then we can keep our downtown office running, blah, blah, that sort of thing, I guess. They also have to pay rent, I guess.
Space in the front of the public, like they're doing their job, because it's still a significant amount of money. But to that crypto company, like this Tether, it's about like $40 million. All right, dude.
I mean, does New York have like vast crime issues?
Yeah.
Because of COVID and so on. Why not just go after regular crime? Not that
I think
crime,
that New York had high crime
go
before COVID,
go after
honestly.
fucking crime.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
there's enough
have you guys
crime
seen
as
this
it is.
Axie Infinity thing?
What's that?
What?
have you guys seen this Axie Infinity thing? I mean, it's going viral lately. I've had already like 3 journalists approach me about it. And now I'm just watching. I saw a clip on Bloomberg. I just tweeted it out. I mean, they're interviewing somebody who's talking about how Axie Infinity is, this game that's powered by crypto. Gerald, have you played this game yet?
Oh, no, I know all about it. I haven't played it. I just, again, not a fan, but it's, I've said multiple times, play to earn is the future. There's a kid in the Philippines who literally just bought a big chunk of land because of Axie Infinity when it went from like $4 about 4 months ago to almost $100. Like,
so this is like a play to earn game, right? Have you seen it? Have you used it before?
I haven't played it. I own no Axie, but I have bought some SLP because that's one of the native token to their platform. And again, I'm all over play to earn, but that's one game I haven't been getting to play, but I have been obviously know about and studying, and I've been studying, all these games.
What exchanges are they available on right now, guys? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, is there a token? What is their token on?
Oh yeah, Axie is AXS you can buy on My Crypto. I think SLP you can get on Gemini, and you can get on mycrypto.com as well.
I'm downloading a zip file from them now.
There's also, Binance Smart Chain games are blowing up. Like, that's the game that I've been testing and playing. I was just playing before I got on the call, called Crypto Blades. It's like World of Warcraft for crypto, and it runs on the Binance Smart Chain. There's many things I like about it. The only thing I don't like at the moment is when you go to try and do a raid, they're trying to charge you almost half a B&B, and a B&B is almost $500. So I'm not trying to drop $250 on a raid, but I keep hitting them up on Twitter to see if they'll respond to like what's going on with that issue. Like, why is the gas fee for that transaction so high when every other gas fee transaction when I roll the dice or I'm buying an item is like literally 15 cents, right? It's like 0.0015 B&B. It's like comes to like pennies. But when I do this raid, it's like off the charts expensive gas fees. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that one out. But again, play to earn is the future, people. I've been saying this for 2 years. It's finally here. Obviously, you can see that there's people making a living at it in the Philippines. They've been dropping their jobs because their minimum wage jobs, pay less than them earning crypto, and it's changing people's lives. It really is. It's fascinating stuff. And Cuban was talking about it in the call, so that's what made it blow up too.
Yeah.
Do they have? Does anybody know Ronin Wallet? Are you guys familiar with it? Axie is asking me to download Ronin Wallet. You guys know this one?
I've never heard of it.
No, I'm not familiar with it. And again, that's the other thing. It's like anytime you're playing one of these games, there's going to be things you have to possibly download and et cetera. Like, you have to be comfortable with all that. I don't know. That's the thing. I haven't played it. If you can't use MetaMask with it and just switch to Binance Smart Chain, or no?
There's a login with MetaMask option, which I tried doing, but then they said that my MetaMask isn't connected to Ronin. So now I'm wondering if I should be adding Ronin to Braze. What might be this potential security risk with that? Anyways, I invited a few people to speak. If you guys want, accept the invite, but everybody's welcome to request the mic.
Please do. Marty, I'd like to get your thoughts on stable coins, regulation on that, the pitfalls and the perils of stable coins. What do you got for me?
Yep. Yeah, I actually wrote about it today in the newsletter a bit. Honestly, it's I think that stable coins are a really beautiful thing, and I think that they can fix a lot of the inherent flaws in the financial markets. But obviously regulators are scared of them because that means they have to cede some of the control of the money, which they're obviously enjoying at the moment. And I think that it'll fix a lot of the stuff that they want to fix. So eventually they'll end up doing it. But it's just going to be a process of, them coming to these realizations slowly over time. I mean, we've seen this happen with things like Bitcoin before and the internet. I mean, it's inevitable, but basically there's like the war of cryptocurrencies is it's not over. And we won huge ground with the Bitcoin battle. I mean, you can see Bitcoin related products, going left and right, even in the United States, which was previously very regulatory unfriendly towards crypto. So it's at least in the United States, I mean, Bitcoin has won. In China, it's lost completely, but it's yet to be seen how Chinese people are actually using it or not. But the battle is now shifted towards stable coins because stable coins are what power DeFi.
Right.
Basically, if you want to get yield in DeFi, I mean, they don't care about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a volatile asset. It doesn't pose a threat to the US dollar in and of itself, because nobody's going to try and use it as a reserve currency if it's so volatile. And people who will, they'll understand that in a day, that's pretty devastating for a nation state, for example. It can be quite large. So for that reason, I think that Bitcoin, they're warming up to Bitcoin, but stable coins, on the other hand, can you imagine if you have a situation where there's another asset alternative to bonds, which are basically government debt? That's how they raise money from future taxpayers through this mechanism called bonds. And there's an entire market that rests on top of it. So can you imagine what asset managers are going to start doing if they see a new asset that doesn't rely on government debt, which is never ever paid back, but actually is fully collateralized and completely transparent on the blockchain? And more importantly, Cha-Ching is giving them a much higher yield than the bonds are right now, which basically keeping your money in bonds is going to be negative over the long run,
right?
In many cases. But with DeFi, often we see basically the Fed's ability to manipulate the market is deteriorating because that's how they keep the markets, they keep the interest rates low in order to manipulate the market and keep them moving higher. But DeFi has a magical way around that suppression. And if people see a higher yield somewhere, they'll go and get it. And then, the Fed can be effectively left behind. So I understand the reason to fear it. Will be interesting to see how this one plays out.
What is the correlation between stocks and crypto? You kind of made mention of that. Is there one at all?
Oh yeah, we just put out some research today on that by our awesome NFT analyst Alessandra Lores.
Yeah.
And this is sponsored by Luno Global, of course. And I like the way that Laura has tackled it because he really gave it a fresh perspective. I mean, we've been looking at, macro movements, and I know that Pedro has done, Pedro Febrero, our blockchain analyst, has done significant research on this before, and we always find the correlation to be with the Fed. But Alex really looked at a much tighter correlations of time, like just, for example, if we think about it from, the event of the COVID event of March 2020, I mean, that was a pretty significant positive correlation between crypto and stocks and just about every other asset. So we really broke down what's happened since then, and have we kind of shaken that correlation or not. So I think that's, a part of the ongoing research that we need to be doing about these types of things.
And again, the newsletter is always free, quantumeconomics.io. Got to get the plug in there. And Alexander, too. Alexander Lores, man, that guy does great work. Got to follow. Give him a shout out. It's what happened with him into his Spaces. We got to get him back on Spaces so he can join us. I don't know. Does anybody else have issues with?
Yeah, obviously, if they're having issues, they wouldn't be in the room here.
Yeah,
guys,
stuff's not working. I didn't get to ask him. I wanted to ask him. He said it was working for his professional account, but it wasn't working for his personal account. So I almost forgot to say, just like, why don't you just use your pro account just for the moment? But I don't know. I don't know what's going on. There's definitely something with his accounts.
Yeah. Okay. So Twitter's still working the stuff out. They're getting the kinks out.
Guys, have you seen the latest tweet from Eric? What the fuck is his name? Belkunas. What the? Anyways, I've retweeted it from my wall. It's like, oh my god, it looks like Valkyrie changed their ticket to BTFD. They must have listened to Twitter because was like all over my replies every time we talked about BTF. Talk about an instant classic. Like this ETF dude from ETF analyst from Bloomberg. I retweeted it. If you guys want to see it.
I'm going there right now. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, that is crazy, man. The heck? That almost seems like it's fake. Oh my gosh.
I mean, you can throw it up in the room because it's actually really defining for where we are at the moment with the whole online space and how crypto Twitter is actually influencing the companies and the market as we go along.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. BTF. Oh my gosh. I love it. Oh, I'll put that up here. Hold on a sec. You can put it up too.
Yeah, I put it up in there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I gotta retweet that one, man. Oh yeah. That's classic, dude. Nice find on that one. Crypto loves Chris.
Yeah, I mean, just scrolling the wall while while chilling here.
That's what it's about. That's beauty right there, mate. Beauty.
News in this space is happening all the time. I haven't had a solid weekend for like a couple of years now. Things are just going on in this space like 24/7.
Yeah, the markets never sleep, man. Money never sleeps. And that
the traditional market sort of sleeps during the weekends, but this crypto market is just. And there's so much action.
I've noticed though the last couple of weekends it's been pretty range bound and pretty consistent. Like this past weekend we stayed between 60 and 62, and I think the weekend before we've been pretty range bound. It seems like that a little bit more. Am I wrong in seeing that, or what? Was I smoking the vape pen too much?
No, I think you're right. I mean, it's sort of like, oh, I just want to sit here, watch the game during the weekend, have a beer or something, chill. And then all of a sudden this big news story is coming up, changing everything. And, you have to retweet it and you have to sort of like make a comment on it and so on.
Well, does the fact that China not really mining that much anymore, does that really kind of take the whole Asian markets out of play, so to speak? I mean, is that still, because we used to like, oh, what's happening in China? Send it Asia, right? But now is that?
I mean, Asia is a huge place, dude. I mean, I've traveled around in India before, and let me just say, just India as just one country is huge, and take China out of it. I mean, I still think like South Korea, Japan, India, also like perhaps Bangladesh, Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines.
I don't even know what India is doing though, Chris. Yeah, Vietnam. But what India says they're banning it, then they say they're not. Then they're they're like China. They're so bad with their FUD.
I think India is closer to Russia, man. Yeah, I think India is closer to Nigeria. Sort of like, we're going to ban it, but then we're going to allow it because adaptation is so high. I mean, they were out not that long ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, in India and saying, now we're going to allow exchanges to roam sort of freely and adapt to, because there's so many people that are just interested in it. So, governments can't hold it down, and they were out officially. I mean, I retweeted an article from Times of India, which is the largest newspaper in India, a week ago or something like that, where they said that everything was exploding in the crypto market, and they have sort of like just accepted it, and now they're just going along with it. So when it comes to Asia, I think India is a hot spot. Pakistan also. I mean, if the Middle East is also like Asia. It is not like it is Asia, and also like countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines. I mean, Singapore is insanely hot on the crypto market. So I mean, Asia is adopting like heavily in the crypto space, except China, of course.
Yeah,
but that's China.
Well, the U.S. Treasury says, total about face, Janet Yellen over there, she says the Treasury says it must modernize and adapt to digital currencies, and that digital assets and payment systems actually could harm the efficacy of our sanctions if left unchecked. And that's what Mr. Greenspan was kind of speaking to initially way back when we started this space, right?
Imagine the arrogance, man. It's just arrogance. And, it's untoward and arrogance. And, it's the same with the internet. I mean, it's the same arguments like, we're going to, guardrail it and, make all these restrictions. And, it's same with the Facebook story last week. It's sort of like, we're going to do all these censorship things about Facebook and restrict it and regulate, and it's like, no, you're not going to do that, because there's something called rules and laws, and you cannot just do that. It's like if people came after me, if the government came after me in Denmark and said like, you own crypto and so on, and we're going to get after you. It's like, no, you can't, because finance is EU regulated. So what you're going to do, and they're just swinging their swords around and yelling, and they, there are rules and there are laws, and you can't just, you can have free speech, you can say whatever the F you want, and people are going to listen, and they're going to take behavioral actions. Yeah. Some are going to be more like, I'm pro-government, so I'm going to listen more to the government, and others are like, screw that. We have a law system that is behind us on these cases. So what you're going to do in the end? You can't do anything. It's like, you maybe have the mainstream media behind you, whatever. But in the end, there's such a thing as the Constitution, and there are financial regulations that are heavily in favor of investing. Because if you don't have investments and free markets in a country, your country collapses and commits financial entropy, and then you have civil war.
Hey, I'm sorry to shift gears, Chris, but I just noticed something. You were here in the last spaces we had last week. We had a lady from Australia join us who works for the government, right? And Polka Bridge. I see here it's actually trending. This thing is, I mean, it's not a lot. It's not up like maybe almost 1.5%, but it's trending here on CoinMarketCap. I kind of got to give our friend over there a shout out there at the Polka Bridge.
What is that? On polka sort of.
Polka Bridge, PBR. It's not to be confused with the Pabst Blue Ribbon, by the way, because I do love me a good Pabst Blue Ribbon. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So is that an American thing or what?
Yeah.
That's beer. That's an American beer. Oh, damn it. Points for me.
Polka Bridge.
Things about
Come on, the PNW, we drink the Rainier.
Rainier.
Rainier. I like that. Rainier.
Isn't that stuff like a hillbilly beer or something like that?
Oh, yeah. It's the hillbilly beer?
Yeah.
All right. So, I downloaded Axie Infinity's Ronin wallet, and I'm in the system finally. I have things that I can buy here with Ethereum. I have one thing, which is Axie number 991, which costs $18 million effectively.
What?
How the hell is this supposed to bring financial freedom to people in Africa? I'm not entirely sure. Can I earn them somewhere for free and then sell them for $18 million? I don't get it.
So, but do you remember that nefarious marketplace in, I think it was in like Diablo 3 or something like that got shut down, or what is it called? These crates, EA, just, microtransactions, isn't it just microtransactions, but with crypto instead of, regular currencies?
Well, this one is not. Honestly, I saw the Diablo, so I never saw Diablo. I never played Diablo 3.
Oh,
but
shame. But I was a huge computer nerd back in the day, so but I mean it's just microtransactions, isn't it? Like, or is it an open buyer seller?
These are not microtransactions that I'm looking at.
$18,000 is not.
Yeah. No, $18 million. Fuck that. It's a plot of land for $18 million, 18.6. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, the front page of the marketplace seems a bit more reasonably priced, but it's still 180, 420, $130 for these little creatures, bumfuck creatures that have properties.
You have to realize Axie did a 20x over the last 3 months. So
their total volume for today, and I'm surprised they put something like this up here, is $18 million. So in total, we can assume that $18 million worth of Axie creatures and lands and shit were purchased.
But Maddie, is it the user to user, or is it like game company to user? Is it the game companies that are selling it, or is users minting these things?
Well, I don't see any kind of option to mint them. Perhaps I'm missing that. Maybe I can create them out of nothing. Even then, I'm certain I'll still have to pay the gas.
Then you sound like the Fed. You sound like the Fed now, and I'm getting a little worried. You sound like J-Pal.
It helps sustain my family needs.
I'll print it out of nothing.
I don't understand.
Out of nothing.
Now I'm just frustrated.
Is it free to play? Can anybody just download the game, or is it sort of like?
I logged in. I haven't paid a single sat for it so far, but I can see the marketplace, and that's about what there is. It's a dashboard in a marketplace. The marketplace is a search engine where I can search the different creatures and lands and items. Apparently,
yeah, it is still the #1 game on the blockchain.
When did it get released?
But how do you actually play it, other than owning these items and selling them, and flipping these items? How do you play it?
Yeah.
Just gambling on the different items? That's what I'm doing here?
I believe you have to buy the characters, and the characters kind of battle it out like Pokemon, and then you can buy lands and expand and raise those characters. And then that's why there's the SLP token, the Smooth Love Potion is the other token that's involved with it. Again, I don't play, but that's basically, I'm just giving you the gist of it. But since Axie's done a 20x over the last 4 months, those characters were only in some instances a few $100 for the top stuff, and now the token's gone up and Ethereum's gone back up, so now everything's mega pricey. And even if you go on OpenSea, the same thing's happening, right? With a lot of stuff that's on there.
It's actually a good question, though. When the lockdowns are coming to an end and people perhaps maybe are going to go back to work and so on, well, do you think there will be less trading in sort of general in the crypto markets?
I don't think so. Because no? I see comments from people on crypto Twitter already like, hey, my boss is paying me to sit here and watch Bitcoin go up every 15 minutes. So when people are actively and openly making posts like that, I still think folks will still do it. Maybe it might go down a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think so.
But I mean, with all the benefits also, like with government benefits, people are just going to put them into investments like the crypto market, and it's sort of just going to be like, I mean, you remember when, with the stimulus checks and these the Twitter crypto accounts that sort of keep tabs on how much those those stimulus checks
right would be worth
now in Bitcoin. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, what would it be? Could you pull that up for us, Chris?
Oh shit! I'm not a. I
don't mean to put you on the spot. I mean, we could.
No, it's cool. It's free labor for you guys.
Well, you're here. You might as well pull your damn weight, Chris. All the way sitting there.
Okay. There's this Twitter account called, at Bitcoin Stimulus. The 2000 stimulus is now worth. Just see what the latest stats. 4 days ago, the latest post was up, and it's like the 1200 stimulus is now worth $10,279, up 757%.
I don't know. Is that a good ROI, Marty Greenspan, Gerald Vatsa?
What are we talking about?
The increase of the Bitcoin stimulus. If you took your $1,200 from that the government gave you in that stimulus and you bought Bitcoin, right? Chris is saying it's gone up how much? 700 and something percent? 730%?
Yeah, 757%.
From the first stimulus check.
Yeah.
$1,279 4 days ago. So it's
that's
even
that's not a bad return.
No,
it's up 100% since the beginning of the year, right? When were the stimulus checks cut? Like mid 2020.
Yeah.
So that makes a bunch of sense. Certainly, whoever put their stimulus into Bitcoin is well ahead of the dollars that they would have spent by now.
Yeah, man. I also think like people have put them into like Dogecoin and whatever, maybe SafeMoon, and maybe they've lost a lot of money in SafeMoon and so on. But
or made money in SafeMoon. Who knows, man?
Yeah. Ups and downs. Yeah, it's pretty okay.
Is there a project?
Shiba Inu, man. Shit, people can't stop talking about it. Doesn't stop going up this way.
Is there a project though that like you think that we all could agree on? Be like, man, that stay away. What's the one that like we think that we would all go, stay away? Don't get a bag. Just it's a dumpster. Don't do it.
Oh shit, Tron maybe.
Oh man, well see, I know some friends that they're deep in it, and they love it, and they say there's some use case there, and especially this deal with Sony that just got announced for gaming.
Yeah.
So
wasn't it Samsung? It was Samsung, wasn't it? I think it was Samsung, not Sony. Fairly sure it was
maybe
Samsung.
It was. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sitting here, having drinks, doing a crypto. It's what? Was it Sony?
I thought it was Sony as well. I thought Samsung with Icon.
Okay. I don't know.
I mean, Tron just gone down the overall list, like the top cryptos? Haven't they just like plunged on that list? I mean, I think it was like in top 15 at some point, top 12, and you haven't heard a lot about it like in ages.
Yeah. Well, we just saw something about them the other day. So I think they're still doing stuff. But
yeah, for sure.
And I'm not trying to be tribal by any means. I'm just asking, like, is there?
I haven't seen any epic Justin Sun tweets in quite a while. Honestly, right. I'm starting to think he's blocked me or something.
Yeah,
maybe some husband beat him up or something.
See,
you heard that story.
CZ must have got him in trouble or something.
Yeah.
See, because I think like something obviously like Bitcoin SV, like that would be like. Bitcoin is worthless. Yeah, we know Bitcoin is worthless.
But a lot of these whole projects are just shite. I mean, I think Bitcoin Cash is actually doing all right, all things taken into account. I mean. But there was sort of like, remember sort of Bitcoin Gold also, that fork. Right. A lot of these, I mean,
There have been a number of Bitcoins, honestly. And I remember in 2017, it was extremely popular to like just fork Bitcoin.
especially after the original Bitcoin Cash hard fork, where people realized that they could just get money from nowhere by forking the code. And even if a few people buy it, I mean, you're still money ahead. But BSV, I mean, that one, the fact that it started mooning, and I wish I would have understood it better at the time, because I was just scratching my head, like, how is this going to the moon? Everybody understands that this is the biggest shitcoin that there ever was, and how is it like appreciating, hundreds of percentage points, and even outperforming? It was outperforming Bitcoin for a while. And what I came to understand was this is basically a testament to how much of a market there is for digital scarcity. Mm-hmm. I mean, Bitcoin, we understand, okay, there's only 21 million, and that's why Bitcoin is, the bellwether over here. But honestly, the fact that there were so many shitcoins early on that just took to the moons without any kind of real adoption surrounding them, just on lack of liquidity and probably in many cases self-buying, but this is basically showing how much force there is behind this move. And it's not just like a lot of analysts have stated that, we're going to see the biggest transfer of wealth ever, but it's not just that. I think in my mind, we're going to see the biggest creation of wealth.
Yes.
The world has ever seen. Not just, wealth moving from the old market to the new market, but actually the market for wealth is going to grow exponentially from here.
I have a question then for you off that, because so much of what I've learned is that the markets in so much have been financed by debt. Like, we have monetized debt to the point that we are in kind of the situation that we're in. So how do we get out of that situation? How do we get out of that paradigm? Is this what this new wealth that you're talking about will do?
Yeah, and that's why the market is kind of laughing at these crypto futures, or you and me are laughing at these crypto futures too, because that's what happened with gold too, right? I mean, it just basically, there's just too much paper, and I'm going, okay, am I going to buy gold online and let somebody else hold it for me? I'm not actually buying gold, and I understand that all I'm doing is buying, paper, and there's only a certain amount of physical gold out there in the world, but there's an infinite amount of paper gold. For every buy transaction that I create, they could just create a new piece of paper for me, and then I'm not actually holding gold, I'm just holding their stupid paper. And I think that this can happen, unfortunately, in many different markets. But when we see a transfer is when we're actually moved from a debt-based system to a positive account system, where you're actually holding on to an asset rather than a liability. And this is basically a game changer for wealth itself.
It sounds like a little bit kind of what Saylor's doing at MicroStrategy, and then why Bill Miller is even like buying his debt, because he knows it's backed by Bitcoin. In some weird way, that makes sense if you're monetizing debt because it's backed by Bitcoin. Am I missing the mark here?
Michael Saylor's he's gone off the cuckoo's nest with this one, just saying that all governments should just buy Bitcoin and then everything will be hunky dory. And maybe that would be true, but once the last country to buy Bitcoin, after all of the countries have already bought,
right.
They're going to be holding a fucking bag, man, and that bag,
a real small, tiny, hefty bag.
unless the market just completely stabilizes at that point, because there's so many holders and nobody's selling. I mean, they're going to be in real deep doo-doo. So I get where he's coming from, and certainly he means well, but that is a reckless maneuver that Bukele did, man. I mean, that guy is a freaking, he's a cowboy, obviously, but, and a pioneer. But you have to remember that, when America pioneered the West, right, they send those cover-ins. I mean, they got attacked by Indians, they got bit by rattlesnakes. People didn't make it. So, I mean, you got to understand that, if you have hundreds of pioneers, a good portion of them are just going to, end up dead. Time
they come flat tankings with their wagons, and they look down at like the Snake River, and they're like, what do we do here?
Seriously.
So that's I think that it's a bit of a reckless move for nation states, especially larger nation states, to be adopting cryptocurrencies, because the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And if we even see a 10% correction in Bitcoin, imagine an entire economy that's built on top of Bitcoin. They're not going to have a very good day or week or month, or let's say if we see 2 quarters declines in Bitcoin, they're going to be squeezed as far as they could be freaking squeezed. So,
but remember, if you're using the
bit of caution to that one, Mr. Saylor.
Yeah, but remember, if they're using the Lightning Network, and especially if they're using Jack's version, it is locked in at that price, right? So it doesn't matter.
Right. So if you're talking about Bitcoin as a settlement layer, I mean, that's a completely different story. Michael Saylor's not talking about Bitcoin as a settlement layer when he says that all of the central banks should go and hold these massive Bitcoin reserves.
I
think it'll happen, and there will be a central bank, Bitcoin arms race. There will be, just as there was for gold. But
learning how to mine, and they should also, I agree with you, they should be teaching the public, this is a Bitcoin wallet. This is the Lightning Network, all right? Like, have little videos. But I know he did, but he could have done it a little bit earlier so people understood the little, trips and, foibles of crypto that we all have to go through until we understand it. And now we're like, whoa, I'm never going back. And I think we're starting to see that more because of what just happened, right? People's $30 just, went to like 50 or higher. And a lot of people are moving their money into the Lightning Network. So, yes, I agree with you. It could have been done a lot smoother, and obviously educate the masses a little bit more before you drop this in their lap, because that's not going to be fun for anyone, right? I think I made this a point in my podcast the other day. It's like, you can't just give your grandma a ledger. That's like some James Bond level shit, right?
Yeah, that was some good stuff.
It's true, though. You got to, I would use my ledger last night. It's a walk in the park for all of us in this group, but, you got to put in the code. You got to know, then click over here, and then you got to put this in, and you click over here. I mean,
and then, hey, wait, when you got to update your firmware, oh, snap, you think Grandma's going to know how to update firmware? Psh,
oh, yeah, exactly.
No, ain't happening, Grandma.
Yeah, so, again, skill set is the thing, right? Like, I know we all agree that we prefer self-custody, but for the new people out there, PayPal, Venmo, and these other services, I know they haven't given wallets yet, and they're promising to do that. And Robinhood, which I'm not a huge fan of either, but it does make it easier for the people that that's just too technically over their head.
Well, that's why Bank of America and Fidelity and all these other brand names that mom and dad grew up with over the years are pivoting into Bitcoin custody, I believe, eventually. And that's what, folks like Ross Stevens and NYDIG are helping onboard other financial services in the institutions to do this, if I'm not mistaken, from what my research has revealed to me.
Yeah, I think that U.S. Bank going into custodial services is quite large, and I think that could be a lot larger than most people anticipate. I think that could be even, in some levels, bigger than this Bitcoin futures-backed ETF, which is basically more paper Bitcoin. And, people are wise to this game already. If they think Bitcoin, generally they're going to want to buy the actual asset. They're going to want to actually buy, if not custody it themselves, then task somebody to custody it for them so that they own the actual thing. It's like, a bank has a safety deposit box, and if you just say that you have a bar of gold in the safety deposit box and it's not actually there, then you don't actually have that freaking wealth. So we'll see how that. I think that's a major. It has a potential to become a major on ramp for Bitcoin, anyways, and other crypto assets.
Don't forget that's their first entity. They're working with 650 banks and credit unions across America. Now There's 649 to go. So that's
Right.
number one. That was their first client, the number 5 bank in the country.
And they're also
And
the
then,
and they're also the ones who will be overseeing the ETF with NYDIG.
But I mean,
right. So you have those guys, but you also have, PayPal and, Cash App that are working on the app side of things, and they'll let you buy Bitcoin easily. But more important, you have the AMCs and, even PacSun. I mean, I'm not familiar with their brand, but they got 400 locations across the U.S. And I think that once, AMC comes out with earnings, and they show that, most of the, or a large percentage in their growth and revenue stream has come through Dogecoin, I think that other companies out there are going to take notice of something like that. And they can start, then we see a wave of dominoes falling in the retail sector, and we can completely replace, U.S. dollars and other ones with more
And that's happening
viable
because of
options.
Lolly. Like all of that's happening because of Lolly, because the reason why that PacSun deal went down, and the reason why I know this, because I'm all into that kind of stuff, is because that when I was in the crypto years ago, PacSun and Eddie Bauer were two of the first retailers that were partners with Lolly, and so they obviously, have been expanding on that and realized, and one of the things I point out in my podcast last year is that once retail started to come back from the pandemic, and I was still working at retail at the time, they were cashless, right? And then they started to realize that operating on a cashless system, how beneficial that was to their bottom line. And as they started to see that, then they start to also realize it's like, okay, well, if we go to a digital money system, obviously there can be benefits to that. And I've been saying for years, Walmart's been working on it. I remember going into a Walmart 2018, seeing a QR code right on their little, scanner device. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're working on crypto, right? So everyone is working on it.
And now they accept Litecoin, right?
Yeah, and again, that's why I said that. Like, you can't discredit that, because behind the scenes they're working on taking, they already take QR payments, right? So it's just another layer, and boom, they're taking Bitcoin, they're taking Litecoin, they're taking other cryptocurrencies as well. And the reason why they're going to do this is to compete with Amazon, and that's just my own personal theory.
But I mean,
on that positive note, I'm going to pop off for now. It's great hanging out with you guys. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Monty
Yeah,
Greenspan. Yo, Chris, what's up?
No, I mean, it just got me thinking of the ATMs. There we go. The Bitcoin ATMs. I mean, more of those are also popping up. I know there's one Bitcoin ATM in the whole of Copenhagen. But I see in America, and also in a lot of Latin American countries, there are a lot of requests for Bitcoin ATMs, and that's also a way to establish marketings and commercial value for